1984, the George Orwell novel, Orwell said, "Those who control the present control the past, and those who control the past control the future." And, Trump has weaponized that prophecy. He's, with his project, his crusade to make America white again. What they're building is not really a political movement, but a parallel nation, a Magistan, where loyalty oaths replace truth, where history is scrubbed clean of slavery and racism, and authoritarian obedience is demanded in the name of patriotism. This is Trump's and America's homegrown Taliban. And they're no longer even pretending to hide their intentions. The Oklahoma Department of Education just rolled out their MAGA America First certification exam for teachers. We're going to weed out the woke, right? Any teachers coming from California or New York, they're going to have to take this test. It's not an exam, it's a political loyalty test. And this is the larger pattern that we're seeing from Republicans right now. They're not hiding their racism anymore. They're not hiding their misogyny anymore. They're reveling in it. They're celebrating it. And, this was underscored by Trump's latest tantrum about the Smithsonian, where he said that he was complaining that the Smithsonian museums were, quote, out of control because they talk about, quote, how bad slavery was. Slavery was bad. But, Republicans apparently don't accept that. Certainly Trump doesn't accept that. He wants us to stop teaching that slavery was bad. He doesn't want to hear about Jim Crow or redlining or systemic racism or any of that stuff. This whole anti-woke thing, this is just code for we want to be able to use the N-word again. We want to be able to engage in racist hiring practices again. We want to scrub history of any, mention of the horrors of racism. It's basically a reinvention of the Confederacy, and Trump is the perfect avatar for it. And their purges go way beyond just education and museums. They've also gone after the federal workforce with a vengeance, which, by the way, is the largest concentration of employed black women in the country. And, of course, Musk, a white Nazi-saluting South African immigrant, made sure to get rid of literally tens of thousands, I believe well over a couple 100,000 federal employees, many of them black women. They've disproportionately relied on federal jobs for stability and upward mobility and entree into the middle class because we've been enforcing anti-discrimination laws since the 60s at the federal level. And most companies really have only been doing it in the far more recent past. So here we've got these purges. Trump has now purged the military, the senior levels of the military, of the women and black men who were in senior leadership positions. Trump is claiming that crime in D.C. is out of control. Of course, that is code for black people in D.C. are out of control. Racism is really the thread that ties all of this together. When 5 Republicans on the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act with Shelby County v. Holder, Republicans immediately started basically suppressing the black vote. And in Rucho, the Rucho v. Common Cause, the decision that said gerrymandering is okay, the Supreme Court said, yeah, if you want to gerrymander districts based on race or based on politics, just wink and nod and pretend that's not the case, and we'll accept that pretense. This is all about keeping power in the hands of white conservatives, no matter the cost to democracy. It's really what it's about. And it's not just limited to our own citizens, by the way. Trump is now deporting Afghan translators who literally saved the lives of American troops in Afghanistan and were promised a place in America. And now they're being arrested by ICE and deported back to Afghanistan, where they will be murdered. And why? Why is this happening to these Afghan translators? Because they have brown skin. It's so obvious. You've got ICE now going into the court system, ultimately to the Supreme Court, saying, may we please racially profile. Actually, they're asserting the right to do so, and they are clearly doing so right now. Before I started doing this program, I grew up, I mean, I've lived all over America. We lived in the South for a little over a decade. We lived in suburban Atlanta. We lived in the Northeast. We've lived in the West Coast. We lived in Germany for a year. I've traveled all over the United States, both, doing business and on vacation, probably more for business. And I grew up in I think it was it wasn't an entirely white community, but let's say 99% white community, a suburb, a lower middle class suburb of southern end of Lansing, Michigan. And so I had familiarity with white racism. I certainly saw a lot of it as I was a kid growing up. I knew people who were racist, who just, casually used the N-word and stuff like that. I can't say that I knew anybody who had the power to enforce their racism the way that Trump and his father did, refusing to rent to black people. But I knew people who I clearly understood were racists. And I always assumed that it was maybe 20% of the American population. But since Trump, really, since 2015, it has become quite clear to me. I mean, Trump has won, well, actually Republicans, ever since the Voting Rights Act and Civil Rights Acts were passed, Republicans have won the majority of the white vote ever since the mid-'60s. And Trump is jacking that up. And I've come to the conclusion that the percentage of white people who are actually, fundamentally and deeply racist and largely in agreement with racist policies is probably actually between 55 and 60 or even 65%. And Trump and the GOP are just right up front saying that's who we're going to embrace. We're all about the white racists. And this anti-woke stuff that they're doing, this whole, war on woke and all this stuff, it's not conservatism, it's not patriotism, it's a naked pursuit of power using race as the weapon, using, embracing racism and misogyny. That's what the anti-woke or the MAGA movement is all about. It's about, we are the proud racists. We are MAGA. We are proud racists. So they're telling us exactly who they are and what kind of dictatorship they want. The question is, are we going to stand by in silence or are we going to fight back?